Hello student, this is Palla Darbari, your host, and you are watching Palla Darbari classes. In this video, we will discuss Macroeconomic Class 12th, Chapter 2, Money and Banking. This is the fourth volume of the chapter. Let us see the topic that we will discuss in this video. We will discuss banking. Let us see the meaning of bank. Bank is a financial institution accepting deposits from the people and give loan to the people. So what is bank? Bank is a financial institution accepting deposits from the people and give loan to the people. Bank is derived from the word banco, which means exchange of money. The institution where exchange of money took place is called bank. So here we have seen the meaning of bank: institution where exchange of money took place while accepting deposits and while giving loan to the people. Now let us see the history of banking in India. The history of banking in India dates back before India got independence in 1947. The banking sector development can be divided into three phases for the better confabulation. Phase 1, the early phase, which lasted from 1770 to 1947. Second phase, that is from 1947 till 1991, the nationalization phase. And the third phase is the liberalization or the banking sector reform phase, which begins in 1991 and continues to flourish till date. Let us study or see pre-independence period. What was the condition of banking sector during that time period? The first bank that was opened in India was the Hindustan Bank. So what was the first bank that opened in India? The first bank that opened in India was the Bank of Hindustan. It was established in 1770 and was not the first bank of India. Listen, there is a difference between First Bank of India and First Bank in India. The bank which is opened in India is the Bank of Hindustan, but it is not the first bank of India. It is not the first Indian bank, because all the rights and the liabilities were with the European merchants. This bank had ceased operation in 1832. Opened up and closed in the year 1832. We will see the reason why the European merchant have to shut down this bank. During the pre-independence period, over 600 banks had been registered in the country, but only a few managed to survive. In the year 1865, Allahabad Bank was established. So in 1865, which bank was established? Allahabad Bank. It was the first joint commercial bank in India, as its shares were jointly owned by many people. Remember one thing, the first joint commercial bank in India is Allahabad Bank. Why it is called the joint commercial bank? Because its shares were jointly owned by many people. In 1881, Awadh Commercial Bank, that is in UP, was established. Remember one thing, it is the first Indian bank. Why it is the first Indian bank? Because the Indians had liabilities in the bank. So if the question comes, what is the name of the first Indian bank? The name of the first Indian bank is Awadh Bank. And what is the first bank in India? The first bank in India is the Bank of Hindustan. In 1894, Punjab National Bank was established. It was the fully Indian bank. Why it is called the fully Indian bank? Because it is managed by Indian people. So if in the examination the question comes, name the fully managed Indian bank, a fully Indian bank, the name of the fully Indian bank is Punjab National Bank. It is established in the year 1894. During the British rule in the East Indian Company, the company had established three banks. In 1806, 1806, Bank of Calcutta was established by the East Indian Company. In 1809, it was renamed as Bank of Bengal. Again in 1840, Bank of Bombay was established. In 1843, Bank of Madras was established. So the East Indian Company has established 3 banks. One bank they have established in Calcutta, another bank Bombay, and the third bank in Madras. The bank which they have established in Calcutta was in the year 1806, renamed as Bank of Bengal in the year 1809, Bombay 1840, Madras 1843. Dates are very important, please learn these dates by heart. These 3 banks were collectively called Presidency Banks. Why? Because it is being established in the Presidency town, so it is being called Presidency Bank. In 1921, all the 3 Presidency Banks were merged and were given the name Imperial Bank. In the year 1955, it was nationalized and was given the name State Bank of India. We know that it is the largest public sector bank till date. So State Bank of India is the Imperial Bank or the old Presidency Bank. The Imperial Bank got the name State Bank of India after the nationalization, which was held in the year 1955. During the pre-independence period, as we have discussed, more than 600 banks were opened and closed. The million-dollar question is why? We have to find out. We will see the reason why many major banks failed to survive during the pre-independence period. These are the reasons. The first reason is Indian account holder had become fraud prone. The people are fraud. They open up the account, deceive the bank. Next reason is lack of machines and technologies. It was very difficult to properly maintain the account. So the people start losing faith on the bank and they stop depositing the money in the bank. Next is human errors and time consuming. Human errors were very common. Suppose you have deposited 20,000 rupees, but the bank shows that you have deposited 10,000 rupees. So people got afraid and they don't want to deposit the money in the bank. And secondly, it is a time consuming process. I will go deposit the money, then I cannot even get the money back on time whenever I am in the need. So people don't want to deposit the money. And secondly, it is very much far off from their hometown. So people don't want to go and deposit the money in the bank. The next is less facilities. Facilities are not there. Online facility which we see right now, 24/7 facility which we see right now, account transfer facility which we see right now is not available during that time period. So people are not interested to deposit the money, because of which the government opened up the bank, and since the bank is not generating profit, so forcibly they have to shut down the bank. The managerial skill is also not there. They don't know how to manage the bank. So because of these 5 reasons, 600 banks were opened and closed. Now let us see the post-independence period, the banking sector under the post-independence period, that is from 1947 till 1991. At the time when India got independence, that is 1947, all the major banks of the country were led privately. During that time period, we were having the private banks, which was a cause of concern as the people belonging to the rural area were still dependent on money lenders for financial assistance. The government want that the people should take loan from the bank. Since the availability of the bank was not there, most of the banks were private banks. So they are not giving easy loan to the people. So the people living in the rural area, they have to rely more on the money lenders, and the money lenders are making their life a hell. So the government is concerned towards the private sector. They simply want to make reforms in the private sector's bank. With the aim to solve this problem, the government decided to nationalize the bank. The question is, what is nationalization? Nationalization means converting the private sector bank to public sector bank. As I told you before, 1947 or after 1947, after independence, Almost all the banks were privately owned bank, and they were not giving easy loan to the people living in the rural area, and the government want that the life of the people living in the rural area should become comfortable. So the government decided to nationalize the bank. The nationalization was started in 1955, we have seen, with the nationalization of the Imperial Bank, and was given the name State Bank of India. It was the nationalization under the Banking Regulation Act 1949. All the banks were nationalized according to the Banking Regulation Act, that is 1949. In 1959, 8 banks were attached with State Bank of India and were called Associate Banks of State Bank of India. Remember one thing, in 1955 only State Bank get nationalized. It has been decided that in the year 1959, 8 banks should be associated with the State Bank of India. It means 8 banks were not nationalized, but it should be made associated with State Bank of India. And these associated banks are called Associate Banks of State Bank of India. Right now, these associate banks are merged in the State Bank of India. They don't have the separate identity. In the year 2017, all the associate banks got merged in SBI. It was done under the recommendation of A.D. Gorawala committee, very important one. They will ask you what is the name of the committee which recommended the attachment of the 8 banks with the SBI, that is the A.D. Gorawala committee. 19th July 1969, 14 banks were nationalized. The banks having the minimum capital of 50 crore were nationalized. So the banks having minimum capital of 50 crore were 14, so all the 14 banks got nationalized on 19th July 1969. Finally, once again, on 15th April 1980, 6 more banks were nationalized. This time, the bank having the capital, minimum capital of 200 crore were nationalized. So the number of nationalized banks became 20. Later on in the year 1993, New Bank of India were merged with the Punjab National Bank. So the number of the nationalized banks became 19. Remember one thing, we never count State Bank of India under the nationalized bank list. Why? Because its nationalization was held before 1955, not on the basis of paid up capital. So when we are talking about the nationalized bank, we never consider State Bank of India. Let us see liberalization period, condition of the banking sector during this period. Once the bank were established in the country, regular monitoring and regulation need to be followed to continue the profits provided by the banking sector. The last phase or the ongoing phase of the banking sector development plays a very important role. To provide stability and profitability to the nationalized public sector bank, the government decided to set up a committee under the leadership of Shri M. to manage the various reforms in the banking Indian industry. The biggest development was the introduction of the private sector bank in India. RBI gave license to 10 private banks to establish themselves in the country. The other measures taken includes setting up of branches of various foreign banks in India. Number of nationalization of banks could be done. No more nationalization of bank could be done. The committee announced that RBI and the government will treat both private and the public bank equally. Any foreign bank could start joint venture with Indian bank. Payment banks were introduced with the development in the field of banking and technology. Example of payment bank is Paytm. Small finance banks were allotted to set their branches across India. A major part of Indian banking moved online with internet banking and apps available for fund transfer. Nifty is the example through which we can easily transfer, Beam through which we can easily transfer the fund. Now let us see the types of the bank. We were having 5 types of bank. Number one is central bank. Second one is commercial bank. Third one is development bank. Then specialized bank. Then cooperative banks. So how many types of the bank do we have? We are having 5 types of bank. Central bank, commercial bank, development bank, specialized bank, cooperative bank. Commercial bank can be segregated into 3 parts: public sector bank, private bank, and the foreign bank. Cooperative banks again scattered into 3 parts, that is the primary credit societies, central cooperative banks, and the state cooperative banks. That's all I have in this video. Thanks for watching. God bless you all. Dear subscribers, if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe the channel and don't forget to press the bell icon so that whenever I upload the new video, you get the notification.